Welcome back, and we open up Saturday morning with me and a climber hoping to intercept does on their way back to some bedding. I'm expecting the does from the right, but I never see them, but a little buck comes in from the left. Folks, to say that was anything other than a shit show would be a disservice to the term. This is my first big game I've recovered this year and not had a good go with that. And to be honest, I'm not crazy about how that went down, that's for sure. I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. In fact, not terribly happy at all. Did not like the way this went down. I would say I either got a liver or that artery that runs under the spine. That's some good blood right there. He would have bled out on his own, but it sure seems like he wasn't interested in doing that in a hurry. This could be the little guy I saw on Thursday morning in the wind that came into about 7 yards. It could also be the one I saw yesterday morning, Friday morning, right when I got down to the bottom of my stand. This little guy could be just running this wood line here. Well, this isn't the joyous occasion I thought it would be. Well, that's it for my buck tag. In Missouri, you have two either sex deer tags. But if you shoot a buck during archery, you can't shoot another buck until gun season starts. And I won't be here when gun season starts. And in order to archery hunt or crossbow hunt during gun season, you have to have a gun license. So it's does for me from here on out for the next few days. Reckon I'll get to gutting this guy out. Get these arrows out of them. Bolts. I'm gonna go put a bunch of my junk away, and I'm gonna prop the deer's abdomen open with sticks in the rib cage so it'll cool off. Make sure it's in the shade over here. It's gonna get warm today, but I'll be back for him in 20 minutes. But in Missouri, if you leave your deer, even though they've got the telecheck and the telenotch electronic on your phone, you have to leave a paper copy of your tag with the confirmation number when you telechecked it and you notched it and all that. So there's my paper copy. You know, even though I'm on private land, it's best just to be safe and do it right. Bart's out duck hunting. I'll go pack up my stand, as painful as that is. It's a pain in the butt to put away. And then I'll go take all my junk back to the house and then come back out, start dragging, I guess. Heading back in the woods, I'm gonna put up a ground blind next to the old wooden blind where I saw the 4 does come out by last night. And there was that little buck that came out there, and a single doe. I believe it was a doe. So I'm gonna go set that up there and try to tuck in real tight to it so it doesn't look overly out of place. And this is gonna set me up for Monday morning when it's real cold and wet and real windy out of the north. So I'm gonna set up down there, and thought I saw a deer, but it's a low brown oak, a small oak that's brown. And then that way it's also sitting there ready for the evening that night, because I'm gonna have a north wind and I'm on the south side of the property and I'll be facing north. Look at that little guy. Hey fella. That's the tree I was up this morning. Hopefully by coming out here 36 hours prior, that'll be enough. Ideally, we would do this weeks before, and even more ideally would, if you had a permanent structure like the old one that's back there, then they're just used to it year round, and it's just part of their environment then. So let's go set this up. Well, it's Sunday, November 10th, and this morning we went duck hunting. I wasn't hunting, I was just tagging along. And Bart put out a nice spread of 2 dozen decoys. Generally, the theme was they were kind of landing out in the middle. So if there was a duck or two already out there, it seemed like the next little flock would fly out there. A couple flocks caught us off guard. But we did manage to get one, so Tank got to go and retrieve.
Here. Over here. 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 Tank, here. 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 Play.
All right, since I think my last two shots were a little bit to the left, yay much or so at 30 yards, I'm going to shoot my crossbow here at 30 yards and see if that's true. The reason I shot high on that little buck was because for some reason in my head I had that as about 35 yards instead of 30 yards, which it should have been 30. For some reason I picked the wrong tree and thought that was my 35 tree, not my 30 tree. So held a little high on that, but it also seemed to be back just a touch. So we're going to check it out. Well, we were right, but now we're back on track. So a few clicks to the left brought her back in. Now to decide where I'm going tonight. It's going to be warm all day, but then the temperature is going to steadily drop tonight. So the plan would be to drop the doe tonight. Bart drops one of those little buttons he's got on the food plot, and then we can let him hang a couple days. But now it's 11:30 and I'm on some public ground. I killed a turkey out here in the spring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk all these old field edges, and all these old fields, and even the spot where I killed my turkey, they were underwater for a good while right after turkey season. You know, all the rain in the Midwest last spring, this lake level was up real high, so these fields did not get planted. But what I'm hoping for is to find some spots where maybe some old seed has sprouted, or maybe some of that new stuff that grew up, the weeds and whatnot, there's a good browse. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to walk this perimeter of these fields and see if there's any just good trails coming in and out, and then see if I can set up on them. I'm going with ghillie suit and turkey chair today. The wind's going to shift on me about 100 degrees. It's coming out of the west right now, and then it's going to shift kind of northwest, or from the northeast. So it's going to shift from, say, 9 o'clock to 1 or 2 o'clock. So I've got about 6 hours of legal light. Am I right? Yeah, 6 hours of legal light, and see what we can come up with. So I finally found my spot for the night. I've got a really sweet trail. It's 15 yards away. It comes out of the woods and goes right into the field edge, and then around this island. There's a couple trails that come out of the woods way up here and come down, but this corner of the field seems to be the most active, and the edge of the field has a lot of traffic. And I'm gonna have to try to be as still as possible before too long. Maybe improve my spot here a little bit, try to get a little more cover around me.